Welcome back, and it all starts to take another level, a notch up when you talk about agriculture products, which also seem to be now getting a part of trade wars there. I want to take the quote on as the US President Trump posted on Truth Social. He said to the great farmers of the United States, and get ready to start making a lot of agriculture products to be sold inside of the United States. The tariffs will go on external products on 2nd of April. Have fun, and unquote. I mean, that is what the US president has now spoken about. While we have been talking about, tariffs going on various commodities and countries as well, and some of the metals also. But now we are talking about agriculture commodities here. So what the US president has talked about is new tariffs on imported agricultural products will take effect from 2nd of April. So what we have as of now is, of course, a date, and we've seen those dates being changed and various commodities getting changed as well. But there is a conversation now that has been initiated on agriculture products as of now. The US president has urged American farmers to increase domestic production. He also has emphasized on need for agriculture products to be sold within US itself. What we also are looking at in the meanwhile is China talking about retaliatory tariffs. Now, what China has talked about, and here China is talking about specific commodities also. 15% on US goods, including chicken and cotton, and soybeans will face a 10% tariff, is what China has said. So more important to note here is that even as US is talking about farm products now, but the US agriculture tariffs as of now lacks details on what products this would be put on. The second point is that the proposed tariffs will raise the cost of imported goods within US here. The tariffs of agri imports is in that sense seen beneficial for the US farmers, because then you are protecting the US farmers here. More production will be used in-house itself. The second thing to watch out for is that the tariffs on products like soybean and grain is what really could have a major impact, not just for US and China, but various other geographies as well. Now, when you talk about the Indian markets itself, we do understand, and this all is via sources, that India as of now seems to be resisting pressure to lower tariffs on many of these agriculture products. India seems to be putting that front up because lower tariffs would mean more cheaper imports, more dumping of agriculture products within India, and that could really impact the farmers within Indian markets itself. So there is some conversations that we do understand, because the trade minister right now is in US exactly talking on the same things. Let's take the discussion forward, and let's get in Sumit Gupta to do the same. Sumit, hi. First of all, on the Indian markets itself, we do understand that when it comes to soybean, wheat, grains, there are conversations that we understand, and all of this is coming via sources. India is resisting all of these tariffs being taken off. What is your stand? What is the kind of trade that India does with US right now, and what commodities really are we looking at?
Hi, Manisha ji. This is the topic of the hour right now, and Truth and X, they are driving the global trade these days. As you have captured the analysis on how Trump is thinking about trade, tariffs, and especially on the agricultural side, because everybody is actually catering to their vote bank, the people who have voted for them. If you look at the US politics, Republicans dominantly are strong in the agricultural, in the Bible Belt, and that's where majority of the farmers live, and they have to cater to their segment. And as far as when we come to India, India has largely tariff are in line of agreement on agriculture basis year 2000. So India is in no compulsion to reduce this agri tariff because it comes under the category of a developing country. And within that, I personally believe there will be a lot of high temperature discussion that will take place. But US grows product to export. India grows product to sustain itself. Personally, I don't believe with 100 million farmer, 800 million people living in rural India, 600 million people directly dependent on agriculture, India can bow down on the agricultural tariffs in any way. So this will be a topic of negotiation, discussion. There will be more concessions that will be given on the other side, but agriculture, personally, I believe, will be not impacted.
Sumit, also when we look at the US and China trade itself and the kind of retaliatory tariffs that China is talking about, especially in soybeans and cotton, how will that impact the global trade, and how does that impact India?
That is a very interesting question, because what happens whenever you put a tariff, you actually don't change the supply and demand of the commodity, you just change the trade flow. Right now, for example, soybeans which are going from US to China, Now the trade flow will emerge. Those soybeans will start going from Brazil and US. US will start processing more. They have the processing capacity. US will start exporting more meal. Europe will start importing more beans from US Chicago. US Chicago CME prices may go down. South American bases may go up. As more soybeans will go from South America to China, it may impact vegetable oil prices. Vegetable oil prices in India may go up because South American farmer will have more incentive to ship out soybeans to China because there'll be a 10% tariff on China in China on the US goods. So for sure, this realignment of trade flows is going to impact India, but we are too early in this journey. It's very difficult to take a call at this moment. It is more of an understanding that we have to develop.
Oh, well, absolutely. Sumit, that was my next question, because as of now, when you look at these agriculture commodity prices, you look at a CME or you look at the Chinese markets, in some sense, you look at Asian markets as well, whether it is about Malaysia, Indonesia, etc. Do you see all of that changing? Because we've seen various other commodities either trade in discount or premium, depending on what geography you're looking at.
For sure. Actually, Chicago represents the price of commodities in Chicago, and world over we trade premiums, defining okay what is a discount and premium of goods against the prices on Chicago. And once there'll be a tariff on US goods export, especially the goods they export, that means US Chicago has to go down to accommodate for those tariffs. And South America and other countries will start trading in a much significant premium over Chicago because they will not have tariffs. But largely, personally, I believe there'll be a much larger realignment of the trade flows. China will move towards South America, US will move towards Korea, Japan, Central America, Asia, Vietnam. So there'll be a big realignment of the trade flows. And as far as agriculture is concerned, the beauty of that product is it is not a factory that you have a fixed capacity. It changes every year. And every country needs to keep their food inflation low. And US is an exporter of last resort.
Sumit, do you think India could be forced to buy from US without tariffs? Do you see that kind of a situation emerging even for a short moment? And do you see India in a strong, negotiating position for that?
Personally, I believe if you look at the budget of this year, Finance Minister started with first statement that we want to increase realization of Indian farmer. So if we believe that budget is a statement that gives an outlook on what government of India thinks, and number one, number two, looking at the farm economy, looking at a reduction in the consumption power in rural India at the moment, personally, I don't believe that government of India is going to tweak with agriculture at any point in time. So there'll be much more negotiation which will happen, concessions on the other side, but agriculture is something which is like a holy cow for India.
Oh, well, yes. And if the Indian markets are forced or Indian ministers are forced to buy with lower tariff, that doesn't really augur well with the kind of policy that India has, and of course does not work with millions of farmers that India has as well. Sumit, thank you so much for joining in. Still early days, as you said, and we will wait for details on what negotiations are brought to the table and what really India gives into that. But with that, it's wrap on Halftime Report. Business Lunch will take all the action forward.